The summer heat clung to the windows of the house like a second skin, thick and pressing. Emma Caldwell wiped her hands on a dish towel as she looked out at the garden, sunlight glinting off the sweat on her brow. She had just finished watering the plants when the screen door creaked behind her. "You missed a spot," a deep voice teased. She turned and smiled. It was Jake, her stepson. Jake Carter had returned from college a few weeks ago, taller, broader, and far more mature than she remembered. His presence in the house had shifted something in the air, a strange tension that neither of them could name. Emma had helped raise Jake since he was 15, but now that he was 22, confident, and sharp-jawed like his late father, things between them didn't feel so maternal anymore. "Oh, did I now?" Emma quipped, brushing a stray strand of blonde hair from her face. "You're welcome to take over if you're feeling brave." Jake smirked, grabbing the hose and spraying the dry patch with a quick twist of his wrist. He stood close, his shirt damp from yard work, sticking to his chest and outlining every ridge of muscle. Emma looked away. It was wrong to notice, to feel the way she was feeling. But she was only human. Ever since Tom, Jake's father and her husband, passed away a year ago, the house had been filled with silence and memories. And lately, with Jake back under the same roof, those memories were being replaced with new feelings that scared and thrilled her at once. That evening, Emma stood in the laundry room, folding clothes when she heard the sound of heavy footsteps approach. Jake appeared in the doorway, leaning against the frame. His gaze drifted to her hands. "You always do everything yourself," he said. "Why don't you let me help you once in a while?" Emma looked up, her hands pausing mid-fold. "Old habits die hard." Jake stepped closer. "That's not an excuse." She chuckled nervously, her eyes scanning his face. "You know, you've grown into someone your dad would be proud of." Jake's expression softened, but then his voice dropped slightly. "I'm proud of you too, Emma. You've been strong. All year. For me. For everything." The way he said her name, not Mom, not even stepmom, but Emma, made her chest tighten. There was an intimacy to it she couldn't ignore. That night, after Emma had tucked herself into bed and the crickets outside began their chorus, a soft knock came at her door. She hesitated before answering. "Come in," she called gently. Jake pushed the door open, wearing a simple t-shirt and sweatpants. "Can't sleep," he murmured. Emma sat up, heart hammering. "Is everything all right?" He stepped inside, closing the door softly behind him. "I keep thinking about how different things are now. Since Dad passed. Since I moved back in. I feel like everything changed." Emma reached for the bedside lamp and turned it on, casting warm light across the room. "They have changed. But we're still figuring things out. Together." Jake sat at the edge of her bed, close enough that their knees almost touched. "You've been there for me, Emma. Always. But no one's been there for you." Emma swallowed. "It's not your job to take care of me, Jake." His eyes met hers, unwavering. "Maybe I want it to be." She froze, unsure how to respond. The room suddenly felt warmer, the silence between them thick with emotion. Jake brushed a piece of lint off her blanket, his fingers lingering. "I saw you crying last week. In the kitchen. You didn't think I noticed, but I did." Emma looked down, ashamed. "I didn't mean for you to see that." "You don't have to be alone in your sadness anymore," he said, voice gentle. Their eyes locked, and a silent understanding passed between them. A line had been blurred long ago, now they were finally seeing it clearly. Emma leaned back slightly, confused and breathless. "Jake. I don't know if we should." He reached out and took her hand. "Then just let me be here. Just for tonight." They lay on top of the covers, side by side, not touching, yet everything between them felt electric. He whispered memories about his father, about how lost he had felt after losing him, how Emma had been his anchor. She listened, her hand unconsciously brushing against his as he spoke. In the darkness, she whispered, "You've helped me more than you know, Jake." He turned toward her. "And I'll keep helping. In every way you need." The next few days were quiet, but filled with awareness. Emma found herself watching Jake when he walked around the house, confident and thoughtful. She caught him stealing glances at her when she wasn't looking. The connection between them deepened, unspoken, but undeniable. Then came the night of the storm. The power went out around 10 p.m., thunder rolling across the sky. Emma lit candles around the house and found Jake in the living room, pacing. "Scared of a little thunder?" she teased. He raised an eyebrow. "Just making sure you're okay." The lights flickered once more before dying completely. The house fell into silence, save for the rain tapping the windows. Jake walked up behind her, his voice close to her ear. "You always make me feel safe." She turned, startled at how near he was. "I should be saying that to you." They stood frozen for a moment, then without thinking, Emma reached up and touched his face. He closed his eyes briefly, then leaned into her palm. And then, slowly, he kissed her. It was gentle at first, hesitant, seeking clarity, but when she didn't pull away, it deepened, filled with warmth and emotion. She wrapped her arms around his shoulders, and he held her close, his embrace solid and comforting. They broke apart only when lightning lit the room again. "Jake," she breathed, "this can't happen." "Why?" he whispered. "Because I raised you. You were never just my stepmom. You were always more than that. And now, I see you. All of you." His words sent a rush through her, not of fear, but of feeling seen. Over the following weeks, they tried to act normal, but nothing was the same. Every brush of a hand, every shared glance carried more meaning. Their connection grew, not just as a result of shared grief, but from the quiet ways they had learned each other's hearts. One evening, while Emma was in the backyard trimming the rose bushes, a neighbor approached the fence. "Your boy's turned into quite the man," the woman said with a wink. Emma blushed, nodding. "He has." The next day, Jake surprised her with a dinner he cooked himself. Candles, music, a handwritten menu. "What's the occasion?" Emma asked, smiling. "I just wanted to show you I care," he said, pulling out a chair for her. "You deserve something special." They ate, talked, and laughed, and after dessert, he reached for her hand. "I love you, Emma," he said softly. "I've never been more sure of anything." She stared at him, her heart full. "Jake, Don't tell me what you think I want to hear. Tell me what's real." She looked down, eyes misty. "What's real is, I think I've been falling for you without even realizing it." He stood and pulled her into his arms. "Then let yourself fall. I'll be here." That night, for the first time, she allowed herself to let go of the fears and let love in. They sat together on the couch, arms wrapped around each other, not needing anything more than the comfort of being close. There were no grand declarations, just steady, quiet care. In the days that followed, their world felt different. Brighter. Safer. Of course, the whispers in town eventually started. People love to talk, especially when things defy their expectations. But Emma no longer cared. What mattered was what she had found with Jake, something rare, something rooted in trust and emotional healing. Jake received a job offer in a nearby city, and when he asked Emma to come with him, she said yes. Together, they found a small apartment filled with sunlight, fresh air, and space to start anew. Everything had changed after Jake helped her, not just with chores, not just with grief, but with her heart. He reminded her what it felt like to be cared for. To be seen. To be loved again. And in loving him back, she discovered that healing didn't always come in the way you expect. It sometimes walked through the door years later and simply asked, "How can I help?"